Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla and today I'm going to be sharing with y'all an update on my money milestones. This is the third year that I'm filming a video like this on this exact topic, my money milestones, and I'm going to go ahead and just hop right over to my spreadsheet because that's where I'm going to give all the updates. Okay, here we are. Now, as I mentioned, this is the third video I'm making of this, so I will link in my description box the video from 2022 as well as from 2021. I filmed them both in August, which is why I'm filming in August again. If you go back and watch those videos, you'll see that this spreadsheet looks a little bit different than it does now. So I've made quite a few changes, or just a couple of changes that makes it visually look much better, and this is actually thanks to a couple of y'all. So I think somebody had emailed me, I can't remember her name, but she had sent an example of how this should look. So instead of me populating every single cell like I was before, it made more sense to only populate when I was within one of those milestones, and then once I achieved it to move on to the next one. Hopefully that makes sense, but it looks so much better now. Also, I finally figured out how to freeze both columns and rows for Google Sheets. So that's what you're seeing here, where the left three columns are frozen as well as the top two, so they stay in place and I can see them no matter where I go. I also will have this exact spreadsheet linked down below, so you will literally be able to access my spreadsheet. You will see my numbers. I update this on a monthly basis, so if you ever want to hop in here and see how things are going, feel free to do so. You obviously will not be able to edit, but if you want something like this for yourself, what you can do is file, make a copy, and then you can create your own copy of this and delete everything that I have in here so you can input your own milestones that you want to track. This did start back in 2021, but we're gonna hop to August of 2022 because that's when I last gave an update, and basically we are going to go through all of these milestones and where I stand with them. I do want to explain the spreadsheet a little bit before I get into it. I know it may be common sense to some people, but what I have listed here is the milestones that I would like to achieve. This was something I started a couple of years ago, and it's been fun for me to kind of just keep track of things and see where I can get to at certain points in my life. Here is the goal. So for each milestone, I have a goal of when I would like to achieve it. These have changed with time. So over the last couple of years, I have come in and changed the dates, or I've crossed things out because I've achieved it much sooner and things like that. But for the most part, they have stayed the same. Some of them I'm also just not too sure about, like $250,000 invested. I don't know when I would be able to do that, just because that's like looking many years into the future, and I've found that planning like 5-10 years into the future is just pointless, like kind of a waste of time. I have a checkbox here next to each milestone. If it is checked, that means I have achieved it. And then I also have, if you look in the rows, I have green cells, and that means that's when I achieved that goal, and then I usually move on to the next role. So I am basically keeping track of when I achieve it in both of these places with the check mark and then the green cell. And then of course the top row is the year as well as all of the months in the year. So let's go to August 2022, which is right here. The first milestone is to be student loan debt free, basically completely debt free, because that is my final debt. Now, as of today, me filming this mid-August, I am not 100% debt free because I still have $36,000 of student loan debt. However, as y'all know, I have $36,000 saved to pay that off once the forbearance ends. So the student loans have been in forbearance and at 0% interest for the last over 3 years now. And that is coming to an end. I have made quite a bit of money by not paying that debt down because I've kept the savings for my debt in a high yield savings account, and I've gained quite a bit of interest. It just financially makes a lot of sense to do that. So as of right now, I cannot mark this as achieved, but by the end of August, this will be done. Because I mentioned in my last couple of Transfer Tuesday videos that I will be completely paying off my debt. I've actually scheduled that payment for August 31st. This month, and I will be completely debt free, which is crazy. Something I've been working toward for 5 years. So very exciting there. However, I did mark March of 2023 as green because that is when I achieved quote unquote debt freedom with my savings. So that's when I hit 36,000 in savings. All right, the next chunk of milestones would be my emergency fund. I already achieved 3,000, 6,000, and then back in August, I was actually hovering around 6,000 for the whole year because I know in 2022 I had said it was just going to stay at 6,000. I kept it at 6,000 for quite some time and just let some interest accrue in there. There was a drop in March because that is when I put 3,000 or so, 2,500 I think, to my student loan debt, so I could just go ahead and finish that. But then I was able to replenish it right away, so I didn't want to like knock it back down to 3,000 or anything just because I knew I would get it back right away. You can see that I did make a milestone of 9,000 in my emergency fund, which I achieved in June of 2023. And then I did set the goal of a $12,000 emergency fund, and that I set that for 2023, like the end of 2023, and I achieved that last month. So in July, I hit over 12K in my emergency fund, and I am now complete with that. As of right now, I am not putting anything extra to my emergency fund, not for the rest of 2023. I don't think I will be. I do have a milestone goal of $18,000 in my emergency fund by July 2024. I'm not too sure if I still want to do that. Maybe. I would have to put 6,000 in the first half of 2024, and I don't think I want to focus on that. However, I think really what I'll end up doing is adding a few milestones into this because one thing I'm really going to be focusing on next year is saving for a sabbatical. And I know I haven't made a video on that and I keep talking about it, but I'm waiting on a few things to actually be able to talk about that. And I think I'll pop that in here because instead of, it's not going to be considered my emergency fund. I think I'm going to keep my emergency fund at 12,000. And then on top of that, I want a set amount for a sabbatical savings. Next milestone would be $20,000 for a car. And this is just something that I set for far out from now. So about 4 years from now, I would like to have about 20,000 just so in case. I'm going to try to make my car last as long as possible. Of course, I have a 2015 Toyota Camry. There's actually not too many miles on it. I think I have, I just hit like 67,000. So that's pretty good considering it's what, like 8 years old. And I think I could make it last beyond 2027, but I do want to focus on this sinking fund more. I have this as my car/car maintenance sinking fund. So a few times a year or a couple of times a year, I am pulling from this. If I get an oil change or if I need any sort of repairs for my car, then I pull from this sinking fund because that's what it's there for. So I do need, and I'm only contributing $100 to it per month. So I know at some point I definitely need to start increasing that. Last August, I had about $1,900 there. And then now, as of last month, not too much has gone up, about $2,300, $2,400 almost. And that's really because I had used some, I think, let me see when it was. Yeah, it was September of last year. Right after I hit 1,900, I had used a few hundred. I know I had to replace, I got an oil change and then I replaced like a couple of belts or something. I can't remember. And then I got an oil change earlier this year. Yeah, so just anytime I get car maintenance, I pull from that, which is why you see the fluctuation and why this hasn't gone up too much. But hopefully by 2027, I get that to 20K. Next milestone is $60,000 for a house down payment. This is not a top priority of mine. I did put 2026. That's a lot of money. $60,000 within the next 3 years sounds a little bit a little bit of a stretch for me, for sure, especially because that's not a top priority of mine. And a lot of things have shifted with my life. Like I didn't think a sabbatical was something in the near future for me, but now I am strongly leaning towards that for a number of reasons. But yeah, for the last year, this has just hovered around 70 cents or so because, you know, that's just what was in it from whatever I had that sinking fund for before. A little bit of interest accrued in there, like 1 cent over the last year. And then in July, on my birthday, I made a transfer of $100 to this account because that was like a goal of mine for before turning 30. I wanted to at least start saving for a down payment for a house before I turn 30 or by the time I turn 30, and I did that with 100. So not too important for me right now. Next milestones have to do with how much money I have invested. And last August, I was working toward getting to $25,000 total invested. So this means how much I actually have in my portfolios across everything, like my 401k, my Roth IRA, my brokerage accounts. So last year, August 2022, I had over $19,700. And then I did achieve the 25k invested mark by January, which is not too bad. I got to over 27,000 actually in January. And now I am working toward 50,000 invested, and I'm actually almost there. So in August, I got to over 44,000, and I don't think I'll reach 50k invested in August, but maybe in September. It does depend on the stock market, because if it goes down, then obviously that is my portfolio going down, and I can't control that. But I don't see it won't go below 25k. Again, it better not. Especially because I do keep investing as well. So every month I'm contributing over $800 to my 401k at this point, and then a little bit to my brokerage. I think I should be able to hit that 50k milestone though, but within the next couple of months. Next group of milestones has to do with my net worth, one of my favorite things to track. And let's see, so last August, I was working toward a $25,000 net worth. I just hit a positive net worth back in December of 2021. And then I hit 10K in May of 2022. So yeah, I was working toward 25. In August of 2022, I was at about 16,000, as you can see here. And then I did reach over 25 also in January of 2023. Which is really exciting. Like that's just, once you hit a positive net worth, things start going much, much faster. Like when you no longer have debt with interest holding you back, your money will go a lot further for you. And if you're like increasing your income, budgeting every month, paying attention to your finances, everything just goes so much faster. So I feel like I was able to go from 0 to 25 fairly quickly. At least for me, that was faster growth than I saw before when I had higher debt and all of that. But that is not it with my net worth. So the next milestone is to reach 50K, and I did achieve that. That was in June of 2023. So just a couple of months ago, I reached over $50,000 for my net worth, which is super exciting. More than halfway to 100K, which is like the big milestone, my next big milestone that I'm hoping to get to by the end of the year, but that's going to be tough. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I think at least by July of 2024, maybe a little bit before that, I will be able to reach 100K net worth. As of last month, I am at a net worth of over 65,000. So in August, maybe I'll hit a couple thousand above that, maybe like 68,000. And maybe, I don't know, I think I could hit close to 100K for sure. I keep talking about this in my videos just because I'm so unsure of what will happen. It does depend on the stock market. I'm going to continue contributing to my 401k. I'm going to continue saving to my savings goals, but it's just hard to predict. I also don't put too much weight in these milestones or in these goals, specifically my net worth, because it's not something I have 100% control of. It's just fun to track and see where I can get to over the next few years. Next milestone is maxing out my Roth IRA, and last time I made this video, I had never done that. My first time maxing out my Roth IRA was in 2022. So I put this as green for December of 2022, but I actually didn't complete that until January of 2023, but that was for 2022. So my first time maxing it out. And then what's really exciting is the limit in 2022 was 6,000, but then the limit in 2023 was 6,500, and it was so exciting to be able to finish that by June this year. So I was able to max out my Roth IRA for the second year in a row, and do it within a few months, which was super exciting for me. And I do hope to continue to max out my Roth IRA every single year of my life as long as I'm able to, and very much looking forward to that. Next milestone is maxing out my 401k. I still have not done that. Last year, 2022, I had contributed $3,030. My company matched that as well, but I didn't put that in here. So this is just what I put in. The limit for 2022, I think, was like 22,500. For this year, I think it's over 23,000. I don't even know, because I just know that I'm not gonna be able to do it. But so far this year, I have contributed over 2,900 to my 401k, and then my company has matched 6% throughout the whole year. I did increase my contributions, so previously I was contributing 6%, but now I'm contributing 10%. I will not max it out this year unless something like crazy happens where I'm able to do that, but I don't expect to. However, I do really want to max out my 401k no matter what next year. Honestly, it's gonna be kind of tough just because that's a lot of money. Like over $20,000, over $23,000 from my pay is a lot of money. I know that it's possible for me because I am not going to be focusing on debt. I won't have any more debt to pay for. My emergency fund is pretty established. It is established, and I do have a number of savings goals I'm trying to go after, and that is my concern. So I do really want to prioritize maxing out my 401k for 2024. But I also have some huge savings goals that I want to achieve in the same year. And I don't know if all of those combined will work out. I will keep y'all updated on what those goals are and stuff when we get closer to 2024. Y'all know that financial goals are like my favorite thing to talk about, so don't worry. I will definitely keep you in the loop on that. But maxing out my 401k is definitely up there. And I think even with my current job, with my current income, I would be able to do that. And that would be very cool to do. Like, I bet that feels so good. That's a lot of money invested, you know, $23,000 plus a match. That's amazing. Next chunk of milestones is passive income. This has been hard to track, to be honest, because it just fluctuates so much. I said that I achieved $100 of passive income. Because for the most part, I always make over 100 in passive income each month. And all that I'm counting here is cash. I think I'm putting credit card bonuses. Am I? I don't even know. That's why it's hard for me to track, because I don't think I'm, like, these are probably fairly inaccurate. Yeah, see, in the past I was tracking credit cards, and I don't think I've been doing that this year, but I need to. So this is not accurate. I'll say that right now. I would need to go back and look at everything, like all the cash back that I've received from credit cards, because it's much higher than this. All the cash back that I've received from account bonuses. I'll give an update at the end of the year, but I've had a hard time keeping up with this. Usually I end up updating these not even last minute. Like, I'll come back 2 months later and start updating these because it's just a little bit inconvenient to come, like, I have to go through all my accounts and add things up and then make sure I'm making a note for each of them. But yeah, this is not accurate as of right now. I would say, I feel like I could make this a check that I do receive over $200 in passive income on average at this point. I'll leave it off for now. It's really not a big deal. I would love to eventually reach over $1,000 in passive income, but that's going to take many, many years, and that is when my portfolio is more established. So kind of just ignore these numbers, to be honest, but I would say on average, I am making over 200 in passive income. All right, and my final milestone is to make over $100,000 in the year. This would be gross income. I got close to that in 2022, about 10,000 away, but there's no numbers for 2023 because I will update this at the end of the year. But I am on track to make over 6 figures this year, which is very exciting. It's something I have never achieved, something I've always wanted to achieve, and 2023 looks to be the year of that. As of right now, I make about 70,000, a little bit over 70,000 from my full-time job. So what's really making the difference for me this year, as well as last year, is my online business, as well as extra income. But for the most part, it's from my side hustles, my YouTube channel, my coaching, my other YouTube channel, my blogging, all of the stuff that goes along with that, like affiliate sales and sponsorships. So I'm so incredibly grateful because it has truly changed my life. Like, the way that I feel about finances is so different. And when people say like money doesn't bring you happiness or money doesn't what do they say? Like more money, more problems. I highly disagree with that because having more money, having more of an income has allowed me to just feel more relaxed in life and definitely more happier. It's not the most important thing in the world, but from how I feel now versus versus how I felt when I was at a lower income, it's just one less thing for you to think about. Like, you know that just everything that you are spending your money on is set. You know, I don't have to worry about making my monthly payment for, like, if I was renting, for example, I don't have to worry about that. If I go pay for food out, I'm not thinking like, oh, I shouldn't spend money on that because I don't make enough money type of thing. That's how I felt before. There's sometimes now where, you know, I don't want to go over budget on spending on food out or random things, but the way that I feel now, it's more like it's okay, you know, like I am more than able to make this purchase, so I'm going to make this purchase and not feel guilty about it or not stress about it. Whereas in the past, when I wasn't making as high of an income, I was like, no, I can't do that because that's $12 for a meal and that's just too expensive. More money, more problem is maybe if you're like a millionaire, like you're making millions a year and you're a celebrity, you're in the spotlight type of thing. But if you're making over 6 figures, that feels good. Like, I would say, you know how they say that 75K is like the happy point? I think it's more like 100K, especially if you're in a place. I live in Georgia and I feel like 100K is the perfect amount to be at. Like, I would say like 100,000 or 110,000 or so is the ideal place to be at, because then everything is just so much easier. And I mean, y'all see it, like I'm able to achieve my goals much faster. I feel just much more comfortable. I have a solid emergency fund and yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, but y'all get the point. That's basically all I have to say on that. And I'm just really, really grateful to be where I'm at financially at this point. And I hope that all of you watching, if you're not making 100K, that you can get to that point, because it is truly such an amazing feeling and something I've been working toward for such a long time. And I'm glad that finally I'm getting there. So yes, that is an update on my money milestones. Like I said, this spreadsheet will be linked down below if you want to pop in and see how my numbers are looking. I'll try to go in and update that passive income, but no promises there. Feel free to use the spreadsheet, make your own copy so you can track your own milestones. It is really fun and awesome to look back on, so I highly encourage you to do so. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It really supports my channel, and I'll see you in my next one.